everybody, welcome to the Freshman Podcast, Niwot Newbies. Today we are here with
Mason Gustafson.
And me and Landon will be asking Mason some questions. Alright, let's start off with a very fun topic, very easy, very multiple choice, lots of ways to answer this. How would you describe your high school experience so far in 3 words?
People hating each other.
Okay, that was a terrible description. We're gonna do that again. How would you describe your personal experience in 3 fun adjectives?
That's a tough one. I'd like to say basketball. Let me think.
I'll give you some ideas. Funky, interesting, exciting.
Functions, interesting.
Oh yeah, functions is fun. That's
Intriguing.
Intriguing. All right, perfect. That was amazing. Boom.
Awesome sauce.
All right. So our next question is: so Mason, obviously, you being one of the top basketball players in this freshman grade, how do you feel like you've been able to handle basketball while also being a student athlete here at Niwot High School?
Well, I think that's a great question, Landon. I think that it's hard to balance both of them. Obviously, grades are a big thing in here, and being a student athlete. So gotta focus, gotta maintain the structure, gotta stay locked in on each aspect of school and sports.
All right, I have a question for you up next. So, what do you think about what it takes to become a great athlete? What are some things that you've done gone out of your way to become a better athlete?
You gotta have dedication. You gotta stay in. You gotta stay in the gym. You gotta stay.
So, what does a typical day look like in the gym? What do you do?
Well,
how hard are you working?
Like, are we talking weight room, or are we talking just like daily?
We're just talking in general, overall.
Starting, it depends on the day. If it's a weekend, on Sundays, every morning, I go to church, then I do a run. And
how long is your run?
What?
How long is your run?
It's about a mile long, about, in my neighborhood. And then
nice.
We head to my indoor court at my house. I probably hoop there for, I'd say, 2 hours.
You have a court in your house? A basketball court?
It's in my garage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have court?
But yeah.
Yeah, so Mason...
That's lit, bro.
Yeah, that's pretty lit.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So is that a typical Sunday?
Well, yeah, it's a typical Sunday. Then I, watch the Broncos play, get disappointed, and, go.
So what else, like, in the gym? How often are you running? Just once a week or anything else that you do?
We're running almost every day. We're running not Saturdays, Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays.
Do you do this before or after school?
What? Before every morning.
So, all right. That's super cool. When do you get up to do those extra runs?
I wake up at 5:45 in the morning. It's a grind. Obviously, got to get faster. Got to be able to be, well conditioned for basketball.
That's fascinating to me. All right. Go ahead.
So my question for you, obviously, as me being a member of the basketball team, when you look at the future of Niwot in 4 years, obviously we're making this podcast to get to know Niwot freshman class. Obviously our third podcast, we're slowly getting to know the people of this freshman grade. What are your goals looking forward 4 years from now? Where do you want to be in 4 years?
4 years, I want to be in the basketball playoffs. Niwot hasn't had the greatest basketball team experience at all. We've been pretty bad, but over, signing a new coach, the first season he came, we got around 7 wins, which was way better than the year before that. So hopefully turn the program around, obviously got some great core people here, and, I want to be in a place where, maybe a few offers,
Yeah, always. And then just another question for me. So, we've talked about just rating your experience so far at Niwot, different high schools. Obviously, was there any other high schools that had interest with you coming in? Obviously, you went to Flagstaff, if I'm correct. So, any other high schools that had, any interest for you?
Well, I went to Flagstaff in middle school, but I lived in Meade, and so I was going to go to Meade. That was my plan all along. And honestly, if I was being real, a few weeks ago, had a little bit of a tough time, and I was going to transfer to Meade, but I don't know if we're going to do that anymore. You know, things change.
Really?
But, yeah, really.
What tough time?
What
tough time?
I think it's a little bit too personal to discuss in the podcast, but we were going to go to Meade. It lives 5 minutes away. The only thing with Niwot is I like the school, it's great, but it's also 30 minutes away from my house, and running in the morning, everything else, it's not the funnest part. Driving 30 minutes every day, got to be here at 7:30 in the morning, so we're going to go to Meade.
Is that the only reason, or was there more?
And we have a special guest, Leo, joining us on our podcast today.
Oh, Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are wait, you guys are live? Yeah, dude, we're live on YouTube. Go and hop on.
Nobody watching.
Yeah, well, there is afterwards.
Yeah.
Hey, make sure Leo says to like and subscribe. We're on the road.
I don't think I said
my other channel. We got 2.6K subs. This one we're almost at 200 subs. But we're gonna keep working. But
like and subscribe and hit that notification bell.
all right.
Gotta grind.
So before we end, we're gonna make this a little shorter podcast. Noah, do you have any more questions before we finish up the podcast?
Yeah. Who is somebody that has really inspired you throughout your life? Like you mentioned some tough times, but who helps you get out of those tough times?
I'd probably say, my mom, or, my relationship with Jesus. I mean, my mom's been there my whole entire life, and so has God. And, obviously going through in Niwot, I didn't get the exact place I wanted. Swinging JV wasn't the goal, but, I was there. My mom was there. Jesus was there for me. And, so, just having that support, my family, everybody.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's, I mean, honestly, right, like goals we talked about, and we've talked about it with every single guest in the podcast, how important it is. We're going to, hopefully this podcast will still be going on in 4 years, and we can be having you here saying, I accomplished all these goals. But I mean, yeah, man, thanks for joining us today on the podcast. We're going to keep it a little bit short because Noah has to go in a little bit. Next week we are on fall break, so we probably won't have a podcast, but when we come back in December, episode number 4 coming out.
We
will be on the show. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. And thank you for watching the Niwot Newbies podcast. We'll see you later.